Our hearts are heavy today as we gather here this evening to mourn the loss of a true maverick. We know him as Walter Hartwell White. Hartwell being an appropriate middle name for a man with a heart of his stature. He was a chemistry teacher, a husband, and a father. Others may know him by his alter ego, Heisenberg. While these two names belong to the same man and the same human being, they represent two totally different entities. Walt was a modest and humble chemistry teacher who also worked at a local car wash. Saw many of his students, and oftentimes they'd make fun of him for his mundane lifestyle. He didn't care about his image or his wealth. He loved his family more than anything. So much so that he was willing to kill for them or even die for them. That's why when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, he went through hell in secret to ensure his family a happy life. He killed drug lords, he bombed a nursing home, and manufactured lab-quality methamphetamine, risking the last bits of his life in the process in order to secure a comfortable life for his family once he was gone. Walter White was a brilliant man. His great mind enabled him to amass a fortune, even facing amazing odds against him. Despite the sinister acts he is credited with, he also had his family in mind throughout the entire time. From the time he was cooking out an RV out in the desert to when he's operating a secret underground laboratory founded by the cartel. From the moment Walt found out he had cancer, he knew exactly what to do. He knew he was going to die, and what he did with his life was admirable, and one of the most incredible acts of martyr I've ever seen. I've known Walter White for a long time. We were roommates in college, and together we created what is now a multi-million-dollar company. Just to help understand the type of man that Walter was, in haste, while we were in college, first starting up the company, he sold his share to me for $5,000. He went on living and became a chemistry teacher after others made millions off his research. He didn't mind. He went on about his business. That's just the kind of man that Walter White was. But of all the things that Walter did for his family, the best example of his character, I think, was his relationship to Hank, his brother-in-law, who worked for the DEA. Also, his secret archenemy. They ate lunch almost every night together, and Walter loved Hank. He was a family man. He was a good man. And despite the bad things that he had to do, he still loved Hank. Hank took Walter on a ride, during a meth bust long ago, and showed him how much money you can make. And from that day on, Walter started to build up his empire. It could be said that Walter White actually died a long time ago. Heisenberg is his name that he made up during his identity for his heinous escapades. But eventually that identity overtook the kind, tender-hearted, innocent side of Walt. Heisenberg was a genius when it came to science. He made his product so pure that it was blue, and known virtually worldwide in the crime community for it, even shipping his drugs overseas. One of my favorite stories from the Heisenberg days was when Walt was nearly caught. A laptop belonging to one of his former employers had some very incriminating evidence on it. And Walter came up with the ingenious idea to put a scrapyard magnet inside of a truck, drove up alongside the jail, turned the magnet on, and all of the stuff inside the jail flew up against the walls. The guards inside had no idea what was going on, but the magnet wiped the computer clean of all the evidence, and he got away scot-free, riding off into the sunset. Walter's hubris eventually caught up with him in the end. Knowing he would die any day from cancer, he manufactured a machine gun to a car in classic Walter fashion and killed off some enemies that was threatening to end his family's lives. He succeeded, but was killed. He knew he would die, and he sacrificed himself, securing a future for his family, even to his last breaths. I'll leave you with a bit of scripture that I think Walter would appreciate. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away, and at once forget what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no harder who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. Walt always walked with a bit of a hunch on his back, never standing completely straight up. It's as if he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. Maybe he did.